Hi, and welcome to your Urban Connection. Let me get right into this. There was an election, as you all know, on the 5th of this month. Now, my show today asked the question, who was the biggest loser in the 2024 election? Now, we know that Donald Trump was the winner. But we asked the question, we know there were several losers, okay? But we want to ask the question, who was the biggest loser? And if you think that it was the Democratic Party, you'd be wrong. If you think that it would be Kamala Harris, you'd be wrong. So I'm going to give you a little choice here, and you tell me who you think would be the biggest loser, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to show you here uh, what we have here. Do you think that this guy, Tim Scott, was Tim Scott the biggest loser in the 2024 election? Or tell me, do you think that it might have been another guy? And let me get him up here. Okay, sorry about that. Do you think that this guy, Byron Donalds, do you think that Byron was the biggest loser in the 2024 election? Now, both of these guys played a big part in the campaign of Donald Trump, both Tim Scott and Byron Donalds. They both played big parts. Okay? So tell me, do you think Byron Donalds was the loser? All right. So now I'm going to give you another choice. I want to make this very, very interesting. I want to make this very, very interesting to you. Well, okay, here we go. Or do you think that it was this guy right here? And if you said yes, you would be absolutely right. Okay? So let me tell you why that this is Dr. Phil. Most of you, Phil McGraw, and most of you know who he is. He's a television talk show host, uh, and he went on to the Clown Show on October the 28th at Madison Square Garden. Now, I call it a clown show because that's where there was a lot of clowns, including a comedian. There was Rudy Giuliani, and there was, I don't know, three or four more. But they put on a contest to see who could be the biggest clown. Well, I'm going to tell you who the biggest loser in that charade was. And that's Dr. Phil. And let me tell you why. Because Dr. Phil went on and made a complete ASS out of himself. He showed his true colors. And let me tell you what he did. Dr. Phil took 8 minutes at that rally for Donald Trump. 8 minutes to ballyhoo that large audience about the whims and whams of Donald Trump. He spoke highly of Donald Trump. And by all means, after watching that, ladies and gentlemen, you had to conclude that this was an endorsement for Donald Trump from Dr. Phil. And let me tell you what he said and why I say he made an AAS. See, he showed either his lack of knowledge or he showed his racist bones in his body when he said this. Dr. Phil threw shade on diversity, equity, and inclusion, also known as DEI, as lacking value, seemingly vetted a veil shot at the minorities whom DEI is meant to benefit and empower. Dr. Phil said, "We didn't choose the name for that by random. This country was built on hard work, added value, and talent," he said, "not on equal outcome not on DEI. This country was built on hard work. So, Dr. Phil, you're absolutely right. It was built on hard work. And on the backs of slaves, black slaves, and also Latinos, and also some immigrants, Dr. Phil. Now, surely you know that, Dr. Phil. You're not that naive. You're not that dumb. I mean, come on. Yeah, he went on to say that, let me get this. This country absolutely was built on hard work, Dr. Phil. And uh, what he failed to say was that it was built on the hard work of blacks who he doesn't want to give the credit to. Okay? Of brown people who he doesn't want to give the credit to. Of immigrants who he doesn't want to give the credit to. You see, this is what happens when you take black history out of the schools and education facilities. When you take black history out of the history of America. But I'm sorry, but Dr. Phil is no dummy. You see, at his age, he knows the history of this country. He knows it, he just doesn't want to admit it. See, he's playing the race card because he's in front of the MAGA crowd. And what he's saying, he knows appeals to them. But he knows for a fact that he's spewing lies. Listen, Dr. Phil, might I remind you, sir, that you came into prominence on the backs of a hardworking black woman, Dr. Phil, by the name of Oprah Winfrey. Remember her, Dr. Phil? That's the hard work that you're talking about? Yeah, you were a nobody until Oprah discovered you and took a chance on you by giving you a platform on national television, Dr. Phil, and don't you ever forget it. You see, Dr. Phil, you were cute. As I said, you were part of the clown show, and you spent a very good 8 minutes being the clown. Not a clown, but the clown of the Madison Square Garden rally, Dr. Phil. Now, here's the problem, ladies and gentlemen. Here's why Dr. Phil is the biggest loser. You see, after that 8 minutes on October the 28th, Dr. Phil found himself being on the losing end of viewers for his television show. I mean, people were dropping out by the truckload, by the boatload, by the yacht load. He lost at least half, if not more, of his viewing audience based on that 1 8-minute stint as a clown on Donald Trump's rally in Madison Square Garden. Now, you think that he didn't recognize the impact of that? Let me just tell you what happened. 5 days later, Dr. Phil goes on another show on the BBC, and he says, "Oh, I didn't endorse Donald Trump." He says, "I went on that rally because of rebellion against Kamala Harris because she snubbed me. She refused to do an interview with me." Dr. Phil, that doesn't sound like you, sir. So don't lose, you've lost your audience. Don't lose all of your credibility too, because you're a liar and you know it. You know what you were doing. You know what you were saying. You don't spend 8 minutes on national television at a Trump rally, sir, unless you are endorsing Donald Trump. I mean, we might be dumb, but we're not ignorant, sir. You played yourself. You just didn't expect the backlash. You forgot that not all of your viewers, well, many of them might be, but all of your viewers were not MAGA fans. You lost a lot of viewers. You lost a lot of credibility. You lost a lot of respect. You are losing book sales, okay? And your reruns are not going to be nearly viewed in the numbers they were before October 28th, Dr. Phil. So I hope you learned your lesson. It's nice to be cute. It's nice to show off. It's not nice to be a clown. But as they say, there's a time and a place for everything, Dr. Phil. And I want to tell you, Madison Square Garden on October the 28th was the wrong time and the wrong place for you to show your true colors. Now, Dr. Phil went on to say that he doesn't believe in celebrity endorsements. So I have to ask the question, Dr. Phil, why were you there if you consider yourself to be a celebrity? You mock the fact that Beyonce and Springfield and Cardi B and Megan Stallion, you mock the fact that Kamala Harris had at her rallies celebrity endorsers. So you went to Trump's rally either as a celebrity endorser or a racist endorser. Which one was it, Dr. Phil? So you can't have it both ways, right? You can't have your cake and eat it too. You can't pick and choose sides. You have to pick one and stick with it. You see, you can't come on here. If I came on your show and said that I had a rebellion in my heart for a friend of mine or for another American, you know what first thing you tell me? Hey, I've got a psychiatrist that I want to set up an appointment with for you. Because you see, you don't want to carry around that kind of attitude and those kinds of thoughts, sir, because that doesn't do you any good. That's what you would tell me. But you want to tell me that you went on that rally at Madison Square Garden for Donald Trump because you were snubbed by Kamala Harris and she refused to do an interview with you. And you expect me to believe that, Donald Trump? I mean, Dr. Phil, you expect me to believe that? You expect the audience to believe that? My audience and your audience? No, sir. And you know better. And you know that what I'm saying is that when I say that you lost at least half of your audience, sir, if that was not true, you would not have 5 days later unendorsed Donald Trump. Now, how could you unendorse if you didn't endorse? You see, Dr. Phil, you're playing us, or you're attempting to play us, but we're not falling for it, sir. Okay? You've shown us who you really are. Okay? You've embarrassed yourself. You've embarrassed your listeners, your viewers. You've embarrassed the holy hell out of Oprah Winfrey. Okay? And you've insulted me and my intelligence, along with my audience. And we don't appreciate it. So you can count up a few more people, Dr. Phil, that will not be tuning in to your TV show. So you can take your clown show on the road if you want to, but many of us will not be watching you on television anymore, Dr. Phil. Okay? We know who you are. All right? And you've shown us. And as the old saying goes, when they show you who you are, believe them the first time. All right? So, Dr. Phil, good luck with your clown show on the road. Maybe you can go to Vegas next time. Okay? Maybe you'll be more appreciated because maybe you'll have an attendance of people that think like you and feel like you about Donald J. Trump. Okay? All right, folks. Thanks for watching. That's my show. See you next time.